Oh, it's got for my 6 blades. Now I've cleared the space off from what I will be doing my leather work on. It's just going through my preps, and I'm just changing the fire lighters I had for something that will last longer, and then obviously thinking about using up the ones that I've replaced. And going through, I thought what I'd do is just demonstrate things I'd have for fire lighting and general use. So if I drop down to this kiln shelf on the side here, because this is pretty fireproof, what I got is antibacterial hand soap. If I just purge a little bit off of there like that, and here's the usual brass and metal cleaner, of which is very useful for fire lighting. I'll put the lid back on. Benefits of the soap: obviously you clean your hands and it does take a flame. Brasso does clean the bottom of the tin. You could make a bit of a mirror out of it. Can get the rust off your blade, but also you end up with the tin. And if you've got a fair amount of the actual wadding in a tin, and you get old man's beard or seeds or cattail heads, and you put them in the tin, it will take on the solvent that's in there, so it will actually go up in flames a lot better. So if you keep the tin shut, all the solvent or the spirit that's in there will impart itself into the natural tinders that you might find, and to keep it in the tin, to keep it dry anyway. So anyway, here's just a quick demo of what to expect for a small amount of There's the Brasso, which goes up pretty quick and gives off a lot of heat, but you can tell it's not going up in such a way that it's over and done with. The fabric that is hold the polish actually restricts how much the flame can get out of, so it acts as a wick as well. And you know, when you get these things, what you're after is 30 seconds as opposed to 4 seconds, because if a flame just shot up through your bed of sticks, you're going to be burning 90% of the energy. And that little piece there is plenty good enough to give you a bit of a head start on a fire. So that's the Brasso, sort of a credit card sized piece of the cloth. All this time the hand soap is just burning away, just gently. I mean, here's a piece of paper. Okay, so if that was sticks or feather sticks, that's going to do it. So that's the Brasso finished with. And that's bubbling away in a sort of methy sort of blue flame. But that is definitely hot enough to vaporize the wood, get the gases going. It's starting to sizzle now. If you can see that, if I put this tin there. You'll certainly hear it. pretty hot. And that's just a little lump of hand soap. There it is. So, definitely a useful part of your kit. I've hardly used any of it, and it's still burning now. And in terms of what the volume of was burnt, there's still a fair lump there. So, Brasso and hand soap. I was going to replace these that I had in my boxes these are the cheap Zip firelighters. We've been in there a few months. And I say, once you start opening the pack, you're left with the same problem that you have when you're opening hexamine tablets. Once you open that plastic bag, it takes on and goes all gooey and salty and flaking off. So there's one fire block tab, one Zippo lighter. What I noticed with these is each is individually wrapped, about the same size, but with this one you light the wrapper. They're about £2.50 and you get 16 blocks. Now obviously I'm going to scrape that one up a little bit to give it the best chance. Let's take that piezo ignition one. So, old school Zippo block, new one that you light the wrapper. There goes the old school. There's the wrapper lit of the new one. Get rid of the flammable materials. So when you think about it, these are sort of £2, you get 15, but once you open the packet, it's a sort of a household there. You know what I mean? So, is it cookable? Let's do the new one. Let's see what transpires. The reason I'm trying to cook on the newer one is that on the back side, what it does is it addresses the way that it burns. What it says it does is it burns with less intensity for longer compared with others, burning or intently and then tailing off, and it's got, can you see the vast flame that this is depicted as? Wasted energy. Now if you had a big fire lay, this is getting used, but if you were trying to cook on that, you'd have it all spilling out all over the place. It's just a different way of looking at it. I mean, why not use something that's cheap, easily available in a supermarket, as opposed to, well, there's more supermarkets than there is camping shops, yeah? I mean, that is burning now for 3 minutes. Cheap as. Okay. And the newer one is most definitely a gentler burn. No, I'm not someone who'll absolutely every single time throw myself heart and soul into endorsing brand this, brand that, company this, company that. I'll use what I can find, especially if it's cheap, easily available. But if it doesn't work for one reason, it might not be worth considering. I.e., if that thing got wet, would it be crap? I don't know. That would be another test. But this one comes in its own little wrapper, so adding them in a Ziploc bag is not that big a logistical problem. Putting these in individual Ziploc bags, squeezing the air out of each one, packing them hard into a sandwich box, and packing it full of, I don't know, 80. 5x4 would be 20. By 4 would be 80. So 80 of those little cubes. There's 15 in there, so you buy 4 or 5 packets of that and just ram it full. Sandwich box, you know, there's people use cameras in sandwich boxes now for underwater cameras, so they're definitely waterproof. I mean, that's easily useful in a campfire situation, isn't it? No, I'll pop back in a couple of minutes and see which one dies earlier. 3 minutes and 45 seconds after I turned off. That's starting to boil. Now, I'm not saying that this is something that you should cook on, should use in a tent, should use under a tarp. I'm on about general purpose. It does light fires. I just got it to cook, well, boil. I suppose it was 400 ml of water. Let's add another little bit of cold water. I'll come back when he's died. So that's 4 minutes and 4 3/4 minutes now since I've turned off previous. So if I turn off in 10 seconds, it'll be 5 minutes. And that's a pint in there now. So there it is. So I'll come back in a bit. It's coming up for 8 minutes now since I first turned off. That's virtually dying, and it looks like that's about to achieve another boil. So that's easily a pint in there. 8 1/4 minutes. The flame that this gave off was far sootier than this one is. But hey, that's a very consistent flame. That's still, that now is 5 times bigger than that easily. So if I call that there, it was 9 minutes plus 3 initially. That block went for 12 minutes. On the original one. 15 blocks, and they're like £2. That thing's still going. They're about, I think they're £2.50. So in individual wrappers. It's just another option. Yep. It's boiling. Now, of course, the thing about being able to carry your own fuel with you, it's not just to light the fire. That's a fire lighter. But this stuff is actually fuel, which is a different sort of type. If you were literally bugging out, if you were literally trying to avoid people, so either you had your family, you're just trying to get low key, okay, or there's gangs roving around and you're in the woods and they're nurturing. A fire ain't the best thing for it, because you're going to be signaling where you are. Cooking over a fire is going to be an investing of time. You're committing yourself to a location. If you can at least boil your water with a minimum amount of smoke or smell, if you can boil your water, you can put your wild edibles in there at the same time, you're mobile. I just boil it now. We're knocking on 15 minutes to do a pint of water. I could have used the other pot and put a lid on top. It would have achieved the boil faster. So what these things offer you, if you had it in a really good 4-click flat sandwich box, is you've got a couple of weeks of portable fire and fuel to boil your water and give a meal without flagging up your location. So those at the moment I would say are more suitable than those, but they're a little bit more. So Zip, and these are the ones with their own little individual polythene plasticky wrapping, and you put each one and you pack them into, say, one of those really good sandwich boxes with the 4-click lids on, and you got an option. Here it comes. With a stove like this and a windshield. I mean, if you could have it in this windshield, and you could coddle that back with a few logs and stuff, and there'd be no light given out whatsoever. You ain't gonna see it. It's just not visible. And you could boil your water, and no one would know you were there. Half an hour later, you got no scorch mark on the ground. You're not giving off smoke perceptibly. This one had a great pillar of black liquid. This is like polystyrene. And that's definitely boiling the water in the next 30-40 seconds. Here we go. Yeah. So that's boiled that. it's still burning. So a new version far outlasts the old version. Just got from Wessex blades with just another option. Just another option. Obviously it's not as clean as our proper camping fuels, but a supermarket is easier to get to, or hardware store is easier to get to than a bona fide camping store. Okay, and if some people don't actually like using the internet for ordering stuff in from Ronnie and Heiny Haynes, just an option. Stuff Wessex Place. Join me again.